Rupert, listen, I'm really sorry that Mummy took you to the vets last night. I won't ever let her do it ever again. You were well within your rights to bite her arm at 6:30 this morning, as you did. That was absolutely fine. Good lad. Time for a run. Okay, so lunchtime run time. It's forecast snow again today, but it's holding off so far, so I've got no excuses. Today's plan then is a 42.5 minute run, as per normal, with a 7.5 minute tempo block towards the end. I'm trying to do a better job of telling the story every day, so when I do a session, rather than just saying, oh, hi, this is the session, and then, oh, I finished it, this is how it was. I'm trying to get some content and some words and stuff in the middle of that. So I tried to do it yesterday on the bike session, which is pretty easy to do when I put my mind to it. And today, I'm just going to drop in a clip now of me running slightly faster than I did actually run for a video. There you go, that make you feel more of the journey, more part of the journey, whatever. Anyway, so tempo is what Coach Matt keeps drilling into me. It shouldn't be threshold, it shouldn't be super hard, it should be tempo, it should be a pace you can sustain for a while. I think a good example of that is, some of you might have seen that Joe Skipper crazily ran 50k over Christmas, and he ran, what did he run through a marathon? In 2:28, but he said he was running at tempo pace, and that sort of proved it because he did it for 3 hours. So that's the point, it shouldn't go too fast, it should be a hard aerobic pace. So for me it's going to be about 7.5 minute miling. I've designed the route today so that the end bit where I do that effort is going to be mainly flat, so I should be able to hold a consistent pace. And yeah, that's the plan, 7.5 minute mile, so it should be about a mile. So it's a 7.5 minute tempo block. Good maths. So anyhow, I'll see you at the end. Okay, so run done and dusted. I'd normally do the debrief outside, but it's absolutely freezing, so I wanted to get home. For lunch, I've got gnocchi, or as Liz likes to call it, gnocchi. Smells delicious. Obviously, you can't smell it. Let's look at the stats from today then. So, yeah, nice warm up, and then the main block. Unfortunately, some of it was, if I zoom in on that, some of it was downhill, or quite a lot of it was downhill. The first bit was like quite a steep downhill, but then from about 2.5 minutes in, it was only a slight downhill and then a slight uphill. So I'm a bit annoyed because I want to run on the flat to get some actual tempo pace in, but I kept it the right sort of pace and it felt relatively controlled, as tempo should do. So happy with that. I do just need to find some flatter ground for longer efforts. But as Matt said yesterday, as my efforts get longer and longer, like if it was a 15-minute tempo effort, I'd have covered a lot more ground and gone up and down a few more times, so that will come, I'm sure. Good run of the bank, afternoon of work to do, and then what am I doing this evening? A bike session. See you there. Okay, good evening. It's time for a bike session, but first I just need to ask Elizabeth a little question. It's going to be audio only because Liz has not got any clothes on tonight, as per normal. Elizabeth, what did the cat do this morning as repayment for you taking him to the vets last night?
Well, he does it quite often. He bit me when he wanted me to get up this morning.
And how does he bite? Is it like a little nibble?
No.
How would you describe it?
He digs his sharp teeth in.
Good boy. Right, time to get the bike. There we go then, ride done and dusted. 1 hour, zone 2, 221 watts. I'm not sure what heart rate I did, but it wasn't too high. I've just watched for a total of an hour on the GCN Plus the Land's End John O'Groats attempt by Hank and Mark Beaumont. What an effort from those guys. I watched the relay a few weeks ago and then watched the tandem tonight. I mean, they didn't finish it, but what an effort. You really feel like part of their effort, and them talking about failure and how much they didn't want to fail it, but they did for obviously the reasons because Hank was injured. If you haven't watched it, basically, sign up to GCN Plus. This is not a sponsored plug, obviously. I think at the beginning of the year, I paid 20 quid for a year's access. It's like a no-brainer. You got the race coverage as well. But just watching that sort of like documentary style effort inspires me as an athlete to want to try, actually to not want to do that specifically, but to want to challenge myself, and also inspires me as a creator. Like I would love to do some sort of documentary based around either just me or me and some friends trying something silly, which I have got one thing in the calendar for later this year, which all will be revealed in a few months, but it's going to require me to be somewhat fitter than I am now. But anyway, basically, I love watching stuff like that, so if you haven't already checked out those sorts of things, please do check them out. They'll be well worthwhile for On the Turbo. Tonight's training session is a bit of a bonus session, to be honest, so I moved around. I've got one more bike session to do indoors, which I moved to tomorrow, and this was an additional session. So providing I do the one tomorrow, then it's an additional session. If I don't do the one tomorrow, then it isn't additional because I've missed one, but that's what I wanted to do. And then a long ride on Sunday. What else am I waffling on about? Basically, what I'm trying to say is that's the first Friday in a while when I'm already tired. I've got on the bike and done a bit of training, so super chuffed. No more time for messing around. Got to do better. So thank you very much for watching. I hope your training is going well. Races will be here before we know it, but don't worry if training isn't going well, because there is still plenty of time-ish, depending on when your races are. And I'll see you tomorrow at 4 PM. Laters.